What is personal jurisdiction in a divorce case? Imagine trying to settle a divorce when the court has no authority over one of the spouses. It would be like trying to play a game without knowing the rules. That's where personal jurisdiction comes into play. Personal jurisdiction in a divorce case means the court has the legal power to make decisions and issue orders against a specific person involved in the case. It's a key part of family law that determines whether the court can control the parties and enforce its rulings. At its core, personal jurisdiction means the court must have authority over a person before it can decide anything about them. The United States Constitution requires that the person has some minimum contacts with the state where the court is located. For example, if a spouse lives in another state and has no connection to the state where the divorce is filed, the court might not have personal jurisdiction over that spouse. Without this authority, any orders the court makes might not be enforceable. This becomes especially important in divorce cases because the court needs jurisdiction to decide on property division, child support, or spousal support. If the court lacks jurisdiction over one spouse, it cannot legally enforce its decisions against that person. For instance, if a spouse files for divorce in California but the other spouse lives in Texas and has no ties to California, the California court might not have the power to make certain orders against the Texas spouse. Courts can establish personal jurisdiction in several ways. One common method is when both spouses agree to the court's jurisdiction by filing a joint petition for divorce. They might also sign a waiver, which means they accept the court's authority without contesting it. Serving the responding spouse personally within the state where the court sits is another way to establish jurisdiction. If the responding spouse appears in court and does not object to the jurisdiction, they are usually considered to have waived any challenge. It's important to distinguish personal jurisdiction from subject matter jurisdiction. Subject matter jurisdiction refers to the court's power to hear specific types of cases, like child custody or property division. Even if a court has personal jurisdiction over both spouses, it might not have subject matter jurisdiction if the case involves issues outside its authority. In family law, personal jurisdiction is vital for the court to enforce orders related to property, support, and custody. Without it, the court cannot compel a spouse to follow its orders, making enforcement difficult. That's why attorneys carefully check whether the court has proper jurisdiction before filing for divorce. If a respondent lives outside the state, the court may need to establish jurisdiction through other legal steps. Remember, personal jurisdiction can be waived if the person does not object to the court's authority. But if they challenge it, the court will need to verify that proper contacts or service were made. This process ensures that the court's decisions are fair and legally binding.